1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody. We would like to thank Dean Kemay of GSP Publications, Guitar Solo, and Sungmin Lee for their tech assistance and for hosting us tonight. I'm John Stowell, here with my good friend Mike Doolin, and we're in Mike's home recording studio in Portland, Oregon. We're in the same building, thankfully. And we've been friends for many, many years. We'll talk a little more about that as we get into the concert. But the pandemic actually has afforded us, thanks to social isolation, I'm in Mike's ISO drum booth and Mike is in his control room, has allowed us to play throughout the pandemic with isolation. I'm very grateful for that. Nice to be here with you tonight, sir.
It has been great to be able to continue making music, even though none of us had any gigs for a while there.
Yep.
Happily, it's all coming back.
Yeah, I think lots of musicians have found ways to collaborate and reach out to perhaps to people that you may not have reached out to pre-pandemic. So there are some small silver linings here in all of this. That first tune we did was something that Duke Ellington wrote for Rosemary Clooney for a record they did together in the late 50s. And the tune is called Blue Rose. And Dave Liebman actually introduced me to that tune. We did a recording and a CD of that same title, Blue Rose. And the music influence, I think, Dave heard this from Bill Dobbins, who's a great pianist, scholar, educator, who's taught for many years at the Eastman School in Rochester, New York. And if you listen to that opening phrase, it sounds a bit like the Miles Davis version of Milestones, which is da, 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 da. So add a few more notes and you've got Duke's intro. And Bill also thought that it influenced Coltrane in terms of some of the root movements for Giant Steps. So Duke Ellington wrote this in '56 prior to both Milestones and Giant Steps. And it's a beautiful tune. And Mike and I have been playing it for a while now. Anything you'd like to add before we jump on? Talk about this tune. You wrote the next tune. Tell me about it.
I wrote this next tune. It's called Bright Boy. After Pat Metheny, Bright Size Life, his first record, wrote most of the tunes on that record when he was a teenager. So I thought Bright Boy was a effective title for that. It's actually based on a little fragment of his solo on the tune Sarab Horn off of Bright Size Life. Although very different feel.
Solo order? What's your preference?
You go first.
Okay. By the way, if you would like to comment, Mike does have his iPad set up to see any comments that you all send in. So if you have comments or questions while we're playing here tonight, we'd love to hear from you.
I see that Al Cunningham likes our tunes.
Okay.
So that's good.
Thank you for watching, Al. We appreciate that. Count us in, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sometimes we rehearse those endings. Why don't you tell them a little bit about that wonderful guitar you're playing and some of the other things you're going to play tonight? I bet some folks here would be interested.
Sure. Yeah, I'm playing 3 instruments tonight, all of which I built. I've completely switched over to 7-string guitar for the last 10 years now. Geez, it's been a while. This is one of the first actually 7 strings that I built for myself. But I still play 4-string bass, EADG as God intended. But anyway, so the 7 strings for me anyway has an extra low A string, so an octave below the regular A string. So it gives me almost the range of the bass and the guitar at the same time.
It's sure fun to play with Mike because he's such a good accompanist in addition to being a good soloist. And Mike has built me 2 guitars. I'm not playing his instrument this evening. I'll tell you about this instrument in a second, but I have a guitar that I've happily had for 15 years. It's on a number of my YouTube channel videos that Mike built for me. It's on a whole lot of recordings, some of which we've done here. So this instrument was built by a mutual friend of ours who lives in Oregon where we live, named Roscoe Wright, and he has a company called Soloette. And this guitar I got probably 15 years ago, around the time that Mike built me the second guitar of his that I have. And it comes apart. So what looks like a body here are actually plastic tubes, and a friend encased in fabric for me. Piece of solid graphite for the neck bolted onto a piece of maple with piezo and magnetic pickups here and here, RMC from the Bay Area, and Andy Timmons DiMarzio. And this guitar has made flying a lot easier because it comes apart and goes in this really small case. And it doesn't sound like a full-on acoustic, but it has a sound, and it's easy to play, and it's it's portable. It's made my life easier. But it's great fun to know luthiers like Mike and talk to them about their preferences for woods and what makes guitars sound good. And you learn a little bit if you pay attention. It's fun. I've watched him build guitars, and it's great fun. And there's some other world-class luthiers in this town that are friends of ours, like Jeff Elliott and Cindy Burton and
Great guitar makers.
John Graven and many others. So this part of the country has a reputation for wonderful builders, and Mike is one of them. We're going to do a tune now that is slightly different from the original. We like kind of fiddling with odd meters and modulations, and Mike is sort of a good sport in indulging me in some of these kind of silly ideas for arrangements, some of which work pretty well. So we're going to take the Dizzy Gillespie classic Con Alma and change the meter. This melody actually subdivides and works pretty well in 5. And Hank Jones came up with a modulation for the last day, down a half step from the original for the last day. So those of you who know Con Alma, you'll probably feel the odd meter and maybe catch the modulation too. It's kind of fun. So here's Con Alma from Dizzy Gillespie in 5. Last day, courtesy of Hank Jones. 1 bar 5, okay, Mike? You want to take the first solo on this one?
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were mostly in 5/4 there. We've actually gotten better at this in the last 2 years, I would say, in 5 and 7.
We do a fair number of odd metered.
We've done quite a few, and we're still trying to learn new songs. And Mike has quite a few that he's written that I enjoy playing with him. So I would encourage all of you to continue to learn repertoire as part of your ongoing musical journey. It's just a way to help us improve and sort of challenge ourselves in friendly ways that helps us become better musicians. I'm up for the challenge, and so is Mike, I think. So we're going to do another odd meter tune here that was not originally written as an odd meter. Any comments to respond to, Mike?
Yeah, just Hal Merrill.
Hey, Hal.
Thanks very much for tuning in.
Great. Hal is a
Appreciate the
really,
comment.
really innovative and interesting pedal steel player in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, no kidding.
And he does Baroque things. He's actually done a few of my songs and some jazz tunes. We had a pleasure doing a gig together a few months ago in Longview, Washington with Alan Cook. And who was on bass that evening? I think it was Andrew Jones. No, it was Laurent Nickel. So we have a friend to do, you know Laurent. So, we try to help each other and create work together. And Hal has been very supportive of me over the years, showing up at workshops and logging into online things and occasionally buying things. So I'm grateful for your support, Hal, and for your watching tonight. And check out Hal Merrill on YouTube. He's got some very interesting, creative things on pedal steel.
Very cool.
So we're going to do a tune that is pretty well known, and most people play this in the key of B flat, but he wrote it in the key of A. This is Tom Jobim's Triste. And we're also going to play this in 7/4. I think sometimes you can make determinations about odd meters based on what the melody does, and this melody actually lays quite well in 7.
It's quite well, yeah.
Yes, it does, with one little exception there. But most of it really lays pretty well in 7. So they use Triste and Tom Jobim in his original key of A in 7/4. Yeah, that hung together pretty well. My 7 feels a little rusty. You were kind of along with us.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it is indeed. We're going to keep working on those odd meters. We might eventually get around to 7/8 and 9/8. My friend Mickey and my Serbian friend Mickey Lead, I'm going to teach with in July, was kind of schooling me on 7/8 and 9/8. And he can do it with standards, not only Macedonian folk melodies. Pretty interesting.
Getting to the upper prime numbers there.
Yep, I'm not there yet, but maybe when I come back from my trip, I'll have some ideas for you. We'll see. You want to tell them about this tune that you wrote?
Yeah, so this next one is another one of mine. It's a waltz. It's called Rianne, after Rianne Eisler, author of The Chalice and the Blade, among others. This is on my very first record, which was in about, when was that? 2008, I believe, with David Martin was my partner on that one. So anyway, this is Rianne.
Solo order? Why don't you go first? As I just filled on the last
Sounds
two.
good. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Mike has written a bunch of good tunes, that one included. They're fun to play because they're melodic, but they're not always diatonic. You got to pay attention to some of these chords, but it's a fun one. I like it. Again, I think one of the best ways to continue to improve is to keep learning tunes.
Indeed.
Anyone logging in to say hello?
No, that was the last comment. So.
Okay. Well, we do appreciate Al and Hal. By the way, if you're very welcome to watch us play for free tonight, but if you like what you heard and feel inclined to donate, there are links that Sung will post both for PayPal and Venmo, and any donation would be appreciated if you're inclined. You can see lots of things of ours on my YouTube channel, and you probably have other things online too, I would imagine. So you can find us online. I've got lots of educational courses available from people like True Fire, Mike's Master Classes, DC Music, Mel Bay, and lots of CDs, mostly with the Origin label, many of which Mike has helped me mix here. Have we recorded some of them here? Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Have we? Yeah. So Mike and I worked
certainly the first one with all the acoustic guitars.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we did a fun project quite a while ago now called Resonance. And Mike, when he was building professionally, thought it might be fun to have me record a song on the guitar he was about to send off to his client and put a little CD in the case as a thank you. So we did that for about a year and a half. And just a little portable tape recorder. I don't remember what it was. Nothing particularly high end. But we had, after about a year and a half, we had probably 90 minutes of music on all these wonderful acoustic guitars that Mike had built, many of which I was playing for the first time, but they were all beautiful. And so we took the best hour's worth, and that became a CD. And we did a second solo one, which was one at a house concert for you at your old home on the guitar that Mike built for me. So, over the years, I've had the chance to play some wonderful guitars that Mike built. And, the first one we did, I think, was all on your guitar as the first CD. But we've done probably, I don't know, maybe a dozen projects for Origin that you mixed here for me. So, and we'll continue to mix and make music together.
And that first record was mostly on that mic that you're talking into right now.
There we go. That's why my voice sounds strangely familiar.
So yeah, I've had that mic for probably 30 years now.
That's great. Well, it's
still going strong.
Still working well. So you may notice that I've got the talkback mic close to my guitar because even on this instrument, I've been doing this probably since the late 90s when an engineer recommended it, even though I have a very light right hand and this guitar has almost no acoustic sound. If you hear the guitar without the amp, you're still hearing a little bit of pick articulation with a mic fairly hot in terms of the gain and very close to my right picking hand. I've been recording this way for years. And I do like that sound of the pick articulation, even though it's a relatively small part of the sound when the amp is turned up. Here's another one from Tom Jobim that we like. Nothing fancy here. We're just playing his beautiful melody down and soloing on it. It's called Brigash no Gamaish, which means fight no more. We love Jobim's melodies. Unless you're Brazilian, you play about 5 of them, and he wrote 400 of them, so we're slowly wading through some of his repertoire with pleasure. Hope some of you are too. So Mike's going to switch over now. By the way, that's, you want to tell them about the nylon? Anything
Yeah,
special?
before I put this guitar
Yes.
down, this is a 17-inch big boy nylon string, Brazilian rosewood back and sides, because I can.
I tell them the story about your friend with the barn.
Well, yeah, very briefly, this guy many years ago calls me up from Brazil and says that he would like to trade me Brazilian rosewood for guitars, and it turns out that he lived in a Brazilian rosewood forest and his barn was made of Brazilian rosewood. So he started sending me like the floorboards out of the barn, and I think this may actually be one of the floorboards of his barn. I made this guitar out of. So it was a very fruitful collaboration. I made him several guitars, and he sent me a bunch of wood. And also the top of this is incense cedar, which is the very same cedar that pencils are made of. You know, when you sharpen a pencil, that smell, that's what this smells like when you're working on it.
Things that you only find out if you have friends who are luthiers.
But anyway, I'm going to switch over now to my acoustic fretless bass guitar.
Tell them about this.
So this is a California redwood top and spalted zebra wood back and sides. Pretty unusual piece of wood. I found this right here in town at Woodcrafters. And this instrument has been to Ireland twice, Japan a couple of times, and Australia once. So I've toured with it quite a bit. And it's still going strong, holding up fine.
It's fun to watch him build some of these instruments too. I've watched some of these instruments in progress. So you're just playing this acoustically tonight, correct?
Yes, so I'm going to use my vocal mic and just mic the bass.
Notice the offset sound hole guys there at the top. It really does sound kind of like an upright when we recorded with it. Yeah. Pretty neat. So we're going to take a song that was normally played in 4, and we're also going to change the meter on this one. This is an old Oscar Hammerstein tune probably from a show, I would imagine. Do you know the provenance for this tune?
I don't know what this, unless that was the name of the show.
Could be, yeah. Maybe someone can, someone who knows, they can tell us. But the tune is "I'll Take Romance," and it works really well as a waltz. Maybe soloing together on this one a little bit after individual solos. You want to solo after the head?
Okay.
And I'll take a chorus, maybe at least one, maybe 2, and then we'll take one together before we go out.
Okay, sounds good.
and maybe end on our little B flat 4 minor.
Oh yeah.
If we haven't played this in a while, just refreshing each other on the arrangement, refreshing each other's memories.
And it's different every time anyway. So.
True. That's the nature of jazz, guys. How's that, Mike? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. If you can't play 2-5-1 when you're done with that tune, you're in big trouble.
Hey, I see Joe Califano tuned in. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe. We're overdue for a hello in person. I hope sometime maybe this summer, Joe. I hope you and Mary Pat and Tony are all well. He's a friend of ours who's a good guitarist, and he heads. Doesn't he head the dental program there at OHSU? I believe
right.
he does.
That's
So
right.
he's a doc with great qualifications, but loves jazz and plays quite well. I think we probably have time for one more. It's getting on towards 7-ish, right?
Yeah, it
What do you
is.
think?
It sure is. Yeah.
So we're going to do one more for you, just to mention again briefly, if you don't mind a quick plug. If you like what you heard tonight and have inclination to donate an amount of any, donate something of any amount, we'd sure appreciate it. And you can do that with the PayPal and Venmo links that song is posting. And we would like to thank Dean Kameh, who has had GSP for many, many years in San Francisco. Incredible guitar shop if you're ever in the Bay Area. And an incredible catalog of sheet music, beautiful instruments. And Dean's been a friend since the 1980s, and great to be reconnected with him fairly recently for some of these live streams, and to someone Lee for his help with the tech work. We sure appreciate it, guys. So here's another one of Mike's. You want to tell them about this one?
Yeah, this one is off I think the most recent record. I have 3 records out with David Martin, and this was on the last one. I'm pretty sure, Dark Star. With instrumental tunes, you come up with the tune, and then what do you call it? If it doesn't have lyrics. So I wrote this in the early spring, and it seemed like it was getting warm earlier than usual, and I thought, spring came early.
Here we are. Sometimes the title is handed to you. I have a few stories like that too with some of my titles. Kind of fun. Well, whoever has been watching and listening, we sure appreciate your doing so. And I think there are a number of GSP live streams that are probably up on their YouTube channel that Dean and Sung have archived. Hopefully this one will be too. So if you have any comments after the fact, you can probably reach out to us on their YouTube channel and find us both online and our websites. We'd be happy to hear from anybody who's inclined to log in with a comment or a question.
And that is, of course, duelinguitars.com and johnstowell.com.
Yep. And you can probably see some of your instruments on your site, can't you?
Yes.
Over the
Yeah,
years.
the instruments are still up there.
Yeah, and Mike, for a number of years, built some incredible harp guitars and has been hosting an annual harp guitar gathering, the next one of which is in October. And he built some amazing harp guitars and played harp guitar for a while. You still have one here?
I do. I have a couple of them here, but I gave up on them. Once I found the 7-string, it's like, this is so much easier just having it all under one hand.
Yep. I don't know how anybody plays harp
But they
guitar.
are beautiful and amazing to hear somebody who can really play them.
Yeah, and you built some really nice ones for Muriel Anderson and other folks
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, count us in for Spring Came Early.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
together. Sure, a pleasure to make music with you again, my friend. We haven't done it
You too, John.
in
Always
public in a
pleasure.
while. We're going to keep doing it. So thanks again to Dean Kamei of GSP and Sungmin Lee, both for their tech assistance and for hosting us. It was a pleasure to play for you. Hope to see you out there on the internet or in person sometime soon. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy, please.
Take care.